Buongiorno, buongiorno a tutti.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me welcome the journalists who are here in the room and all those who are connected via Zoom. Thank you for accepting our invitation at the press conference for the presentation of the 42nd edition of Cersaie. We are at Palazzo Pepoli in the heart of Bologna, a wonderful historic building that I recommend you visit. Once again this year, we have chosen a location that really embodies important meanings and values shared both by the venue and by Cersaie. Palazzo Pepoli is home to the Museum of History of Bologna, and Cersaie has always been in Bologna and has contributed to the economic and cultural history of the city and more generally of the surrounding area. Before handing over to Filippo Maluzzi, chairman of the Committee of Confindustria Ceramica for promotional activities and exhibitions, let me give you some technical information. I invite journalists online to turn on their cameras but mute their microphones. As mentioned earlier, for foreign journalists, there is a simultaneous interpretation service available, which you can select from the bottom bar by selecting the globe with interpreting. And at the end of the speeches, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. So for those who are here, you can raise your hands. For those who are online, you can raise your digital hand and or write the questions in the chat. I would also like to inform you that in accordance with the privacy legislation, this event is being recorded so that colleagues who are not able to attend can listen to parts of the presentation. Now I give the floor to Filippo Manuzzi, chairman of the Committee of Confindustria Ceramica for promotional activities and trade fairs. Thank you, Andrea, and good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome the journalists here today and those joining us from remote, online. And I would like to thank all those who will be speaking, the Vice President of the Emilia-Romagna region, Vincenzo Colla, the President of Bologna Fieri, Giampiero Calzurari, Architect Dario Curatolo, and the President of Assoposa, Luca Berardo. This is an important opportunity to present the 42nd edition of the International Exhibition of Ceramic Tile and Bathroom Furnishings, whose theme is the architectural space. Now, let's start exploring the concept of space from a physical perspective. For this 42nd edition, there are over 10,000 square meters, more than in 2024, with a total area of 155,000 square meters, requiring the opening of another pavilion. And these were necessary choices to accommodate more exhibitors from countries around the world, with 620 companies from 29 countries. This event confirms its international nature, considering that 39% of the companies are foreign and almost half of the visitors come from countries other than Italy. Unfortunately, however, the competitive space for ceramic companies is shrinking dramatically. Although the market situation tells us that the volumes and turnover fluctuate within a range of plus or minus 2%, what worries us is the 20% drop in investments during 2024, which was mainly due to energy costs, the increase in the cost of natural gas, and the rise in the price of ETS quotas. To protect this asset, which enables the development of innovation that makes the Italian ceramics a global benchmark industry, and national and European regulatory measures are essentials. The inaugural conference on Monday the 23rd, sorry, of September, will have for the first time two ministers, Tommaso Foti and Adolfo Urso, Emanuele Rossini, the Confindustria president, but also Matteo Zoppas, president of ICE, Marco Fortis, economist, Gianfranco Papa, Biper Banca, Gian Piero Calzolari and Augusto Ciarrocchi, for sure, and our president, Michele De Pascale, the president of the region, who will be joining us from the Universal Expo in Osaka. And there will be the region's delegation with Vincenzo Colla. So architectural space represents not only the physical environment and how the physical environment is designed, organized, and experienced, but also the importance of architecture that primarily constructs containers to be inhabited. The 2025 program, Costruire, Abitare, Pensare, Building, Living, Thinking, as an international touch and approach with a focus on women, with a keynote speech by the American representative Elizabeth Diller, followed by Lina Malfona, Gloria Cabral from Brazil, and on Thursday, Can Run Arquitectura in Angela Garcia de Paredes. To conclude, there will be Fulvio Irace's Lezione alla Rovescia reverse lecture. The 18 conversations of editors of the Italian architecture and interior design magazines make up the program of I Caffè della Stampa. The concept of living is illustrated each day in a different way, and there will be several workplaces and spaces. On Thursday, the 25th of September, there will also be the Career Day, giving an opportunity to meet university students so that young people will have the chance to see and experience firsthand the values and the potential of the Italian ceramic and bathroom furnishing industry and to get to know Cersaie. This focus on the younger generation with 2,500 students who will take part in the reverse lesson, Lezione alla Rovescia, on Friday morning. Another new feature this year is the presence of high-profile catering services with the two Michelin-starred chef Gennaro Esposito and the one-starred chef Alberto Bettini from Amerigo. Together with Massimo Poggi, they will be capable of satisfying all the needs and price ranges. So there will be an experiential value going beyond the mere function of nourishment, because the worldwide recognition of Italian cuisine is really the driving force behind quality tourism and an integral part of the Italian lifestyle, way of life. Let me also briefly mention Città della Posa, the city of tiling in Hall 19, which Luca Berardo will talk about, and Portici di Cersaie, the Cersaie Arcades, that will be discussed by architect Dario Curatolo. There will be over 200 selected market operators and journalists from all continents that will be engaged in meetings with exhibitors at the exhibition during the 5 days. This presence adds up to the international participation that reached almost 50% in the last edition, with an absolute values of around 50,000 visitors. Another important event, especially for journalists, and with this I will conclude my speech, is the Ceramics of Italy International Press Conference, which will be attended for the first time by Mauro Battocchi, Director General for the Promotion of the Country System and at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and there will be also Lorenzo Galati, Director General of ICE. It will be a strong institutional presence and they will discuss product trends and the role of Italy in the international ceramics and bathroom furnishing sector. During the event, we will present the 28th Journalism Award for the best article, and the event will take place on Tuesday, the 23rd of September at 6 p.m. at the Square Service Center, Centro Servizi. So, let me invite you to this event and to visit Cersaie to conclude. Thank you. Thank you very much, Filippo. Thank you very much for illustrating Cersaie. Now let me introduce the Vice President of the Emilia-Romagna region, Vincenzo Colla, and give you a couple of figures. 92% of the Italian ceramic production is actually located in Emilia-Romagna. And so Bologna has hosted Cersaie for 42 editions. So my question for President Colla is, how deep is the value generated by this presence and by the relations with the territory? Thank you. Thank you very much. It is a great pleasure to be here presenting an international fact because, Cersaie with a few other exhibitions is the most international one, with people coming from all over the world because we send the ceramics all over the world. The percentage of export is incredible, and there is another quality because the so-called ceramic district in Emilia-Romagna is an area with close relations. Hi, Giampiero. Welcome. And this creates an incredible added value. Emilia-Romagna has always been a region created an added value which is incredible. And I prefer to live in a place where there is an added value for sure. So we represent an important added value, and much of it comes from the ceramic industry. Let me also say that, however, this is a quite delicate moment, also considering the geopolitical framework, because there are situations that really tear us apart, but there are even other situations that are more related to economy. And I also think of what's happening and what's happened in Russia, in Ukraine, which are important areas for us. And I also think from an economical point of view of the impact that custom duties to export to the US, so the kind of problems, let's say, that they will represent, because they will surely represent problems. And there is also a degradation of values that really worries me. And this is not something related to the commercial world, but it's related to liberal democracy, something that has always been an important heritage. But if people think that they are the only one who can decide in relationships, so this means that there is an open period that is starting. However, let me also tell you this. Considering that custom duties are for everyone, and I must say that we are the #1 of ceramics. We are like the Ferrari of ceramics. We are lucky to have this competitive advantage. So I think that we will succeed. But the thing that worries me the most is that, China and Turkey may be too aggressive in our market. Because, there might be people looking for low-cost products. And I think this is a scenario which is really worrying and which should really be the focus and the core of the next Cersaie. Because, in such a scenario, we cannot but focus on the problem of the cost of energy, because the cost of energy is the highest in Italy if we consider the other European countries. And so if we cannot achieve lower costs of energy, let us be careful, because the new scenario will surely be dramatic and difficult for us. And I asked the minister to include the release in the next decree for this system because, you know, I'm used to saying yes or no, but we are the companies that invested more than others. And we invested more than others in climate change, for example. And so if we don't sell more, but the Turkish people sell more, for sure there will be greater implications also for the atmosphere and for climate. So if we need to underline the importance of decarbonization in Europe, this means that investments are also required for industry, hydrogen, photovoltaic, or maybe electrical kilns are things that are really attracting entrepreneurs, business people, and they are also willing and ready to invest in these innovative things. However, you know, there are two international exhibitions. Um, One is Cersaie, and I am about to go to Osaka for the Universal Expo. I wanted to have ceramic on the floor on the booth that Emilia-Romagna has got there. I really wanted it to be essential, so to say. And I think that with the Emilia-Romagna region, we will bring them all our supply chains. There will be Ferrari for sure. There will be Ducati because they are really amazed. But we will also bring there Pavarotti and Verdi because the strength of our companies is the opportunity of combining, for example, culture and economics. Because if we look at these places like the one we are in today, we look at the universities, culture and beauty go hand in hand with all the things we do, with all the things we create. Culture and manufacturing go hand in hand because we produce niche products that no one else can do and replicate. So we will go to Japan there, and we will go there with our universities, with young people on their PhDs. That will be wonderful with our, gastronomy and food, which is something putting together different industries. So let me thank you once again for a sector that is really being very satisfying for the Emilia-Romagna region. The university will keep on researching on biochemistry, on biomaterials, because the country is not investing a lot in this, but President Pascale and Batani in Osaka will strongly underline this need, because it's now time to say the added value that is for the benefit of the country. Well, if we want to keep on having this added value, we need to find a strategic solution now for a strategic industry and sector, which also creates a lot of high quality job opportunities. Thank you. Thank you very much, Vice President Kolla, for being here today, but also for being a real ambassador of these two international exhibitions, these two world-class events, so Cersaie and Universal Expo in Cersaie. Now, I think it's time to enter Cersaie. The historic entrance to the Bologna Exhibition Center has always been Piazza Costituzione, so this will also be the case for this 42nd edition. Yet, this year, there will also be some important new feature. In addition to the physical location, there will also be an experiential location with images, details, and I leave the floor to architect Dario Curatolo to say something about this. Thanks for being with us. Thank you very much for inviting me. Before telling you about the project, I'd like to show a very short videos that give you some ideas of what may happen at Cersaie, starting from Thursday.
Ecco, cosa sono i portici?
So, what are portici di Cersaie, the arcades of Cersaie? They are the natural evolution of the square that we presented last year, that will be enriched by a central entrance that occupies the space around the main entrance of Cersaie and really welcomes the visitors, presenting them with the themes of the meta immediately. This was dedicated to Bologna, to the road that you may go down to, getting to the exhibition center. There are also photographs telling about the matter and how clay was used to create shapes by man. So shapes, geometries, colors, different thicknesses. And so with all these peculiarities of ceramics, a sort of photographic tale is told, starting from a macro photography with, the meta, which is magnified at its maximum level. And through these photographs, these pictures, as you saw in the video, we also wanted to show some natural elements for them to be suggestions to tell about that kind of finishing. And so all these roads down the arcades will include the different sections connected to the shape of ceramic, its color, its texture. And at the end, we will get to the area of the square where there is an area dedicated to contaminations. And why contaminations? Because ceramic goes hand in hand with other materials like wood, steel. And so in the first part, there is this short tale telling about ceramics and how it can be combined to other materials to tell thousands of stories. Thank you. Thank you, Dario. Thank you for what you have presented in this preview and for what the visitors of Cersaie will see and experience during their attendance. Another important new feature of this edition of Cersaie, considering the 10,000 square meters, additional square meters, is the reopening of Hall 19, which will be entirely dedicated to hosting the Città della Posa, or the city of tiling. For those who went to Cersaie, for example, 15 years ago, well, you may remember that the space dedicated to materials for tiling was, an area, a quite limited area, both in terms of size and importance. Instead, in the last years, the Città della Posa has become one of the central features of the event. And there are also moments of training, information, work in progress, making it one of the most important areas inside the exhibition. This being said, I leave the floor to Luca Berardo, president of Asso Posa, and new president of the European Association, the European Federation of the Tilers. So the floor is yours, Luca. Thank you very much. Before answering, let me congratulate Vice President Colla because he gave some food for thought and also some ideas which are also mine. He mentioned culture and manufacturing, and this marriage is something which is at the basis of what we do and of what we think. And the tilers that are the protagonists of the Città della Posa have this very clear in mind because they have to combine both the culture and the manufacturing needed for the ceramics to be at this level in Italy and abroad. Città della Posa has also a physical importance, and this reflects, in my opinion, the far-sightedness of the Italian ceramic district and industry compared to other industries. Think of the strategic competencies and skills of tilers and the future that they may have. And the importance of the research in ceramic is something that is of crucial importance. And this starts from this marriage between culture and manufacture, about which you have talked about. We need to bring Città della Posa at the core, and we've been able to do it also thanks to the role of Confindustria Ceramica and all the people who have allowed us to be so central. We've changed our narrative a little bit, our language, our way of communication. Thanks to this Città della Posa, we will conclude a sort of trilogy because 3 years ago we started from a narration telling about the fact that ceramics was in all the environments where we live, so facades, the interiors, exteriors. And this is something depending not only on the product but also on the competencies and skills of tilers. Last year we talked about this sort of combination between the man and the machine because there are, supporters of technologies and people instead who are afraid of that. We wanted to communicate that tiling should not be something frightening for people, but should be embraced and offering also continuous training for the new tilers. This year, we will go back to being human-centered. So we will focus on man, and we will use sort of cartoon design, a very pop design to reach out to young people, so to new generations that will be required to be the protagonists of tiling in the future, because ceramic becomes floor, becomes wall tiling only when it is installed in the best way. So we need to communicate that there are jobs, there are job opportunities, and we will do this with a stronger and more joyful language as well. We will also try to reach out to young people, thanks to Panchiko for Medil, to give this message to the youth, because young people will be side by side with our superheroes of tiling in order to inspire them, to give them ideas, and so maybe raise some enthusiasm in this activity. There will also be the European Federation of Tilers in a specific space with a sort of competition between different countries. Italy, Switzerland, Brazil, and Denmark will make this competition trying to deal with different contexts, different environments, to see how different countries deal with the tiling itself. And our superheroes of tiling are people with incredible competencies and skills, but they will be ready to be friendly and give information. There will be also three talks, three speeches, institutional speeches, to examine some elements. First of all, safety in the workplace, because safety in the workplace in this great sector of the building industry is something that should really be at the core. The building sector is in the news only when maybe there is an accident, but we need to make people understand that there are competencies and skills that require great safety. So this and we should also communicate that this sector is a sector with great safety at the workplace. So this is the first theme. And then there is another theme, another topic, which is the recognition of this profession given by the law, given by the legislation. Because, a tiler, not like other people working in the building sectors. And so we need to have a specific training. There is also a strong sense of belonging among people who have to this job, and we want this profession to be recognized as other professions for which, for example, a certificate is issued. So similar to what happens for plumbers or for electricians, and that's why we wanted several associations to be involved to talk together about the importance of flooring and tiling. And then there will be another topic, a third theme, about the trade of ceramic and the importance of the supply chain, those who sell, those who install the tile, and those who produce, in order to have a stronger approach and resist to the possible attacks that you mentioned earlier, Mr. Kolla. Once again, let me underline the focus on the super skills, the super competencies of the tilers. This will be really the core of the Città della Posa. So I invite you all to come there with great enthusiasm and see the competencies and skills of those who are just next to you, but are really the superheroes of tiling that underline the beauty and the incredible finishes of our ceramics. So thank you. Thank you very much, Luca. You really rate our expectations. We have now great expectations for this Città della Posa. So the 42nd edition has greater exhibiting areas, an emotional entrance at Piazza della Costituzione, a Città della Posa, which is even more important and bright. So now I would like to ask Giampiero Calzolari, the president of Bologna Fiere, if everything is ready for Monday. Are we ready to welcome people coming from Italy and from abroad? Yes, everything is ready, clean. Jokes apart, you know that such an exhibition requires incredible work that started months ago. And I always define the exhibition center as a sort of anthill because there are like ants going around working, moving everywhere. And so they work to create this opportunity to meet for hundreds, thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people coming from all over the world. After the summer, the exhibition center starts working right with Cersaie and gets ready for what will happen in the future. The numbers are important, they are growing, and we are trying to do our best together with the municipality and the public institution to reduce the impact of the construction sites and building sites around the exhibition centers. The city is really doing a great effort, making great effort to make things easier. However, thanks to these construction sites, the connections will be incredible because they will allow to have faster and more effective connections between the airport, the station, the exhibition centers. And so this means that the potential is high, but at the moment the construction sites need to be managed. As for the exhibition district, there is the new pavilion which is still being constructed. There will be the new Palazzo dello Sport, and we want to be ready for next autumn. So we need to really speed up. And you also know that we are thinking about the final layout of Piazza della Costituzione, which is also an important thing for us. This year, we reflected a little bit about the quality not only of the exhibition and of exhibitors, but we really tried to improve our offer, not only for Cersaie but also for other exhibitions. So this year there will be this experience with these starred chefs. So Mr. Esposito, 2 Michelin stars, a person that is famous and that will give us a very high quality cuisine that will characterize the exhibition as well. So there will be this sort of connection between our industry and the important role of Italian culinary traditions and gastronomy. We are working not only in the city but also abroad because most of our turnover comes from abroad because the fact of communicating about the quality of what we do about our district is something that really involves us. So we look forward to Monday. I think that if there will be people queuing outside, that will be a good sign, a good success. But maybe there are some worries and some fears. But as you said, numbers are growing, and this underlines the importance of the exhibition, not only as an important moment to meet, but also for strategic reflection. And over these difficult years, exhibitions have been working well, given good results, because entrepreneurs, so the exhibitions as moments to consolidate their position, but also share their strategies with others, as well as with decision makers, as Mr. Collard mentioned earlier. So exhibitions, trade fairs have become more and more something that also remains in the future days. So not only during the days of the exhibition itself, but somehow encourage the future development. Thank you. Thank you very much to President Calzolari. Before giving the floor to journalists, let me go back to Mr. Colla, Vice President of the Emilia-Romagna region. Thank you. We totally share the project because we are partners of the exhibition center. So the evolution is something that is really to be appreciated. And the construction sites somehow are even good for Cersaie because they also represent a resource. But let me just add something. Even if you are really great, you said something incredible about hands and the intelligence of hands. Something that also Tullio De Mauro mentioned in the past. You know that we fund building schools, building training, and maybe together, considering that professional training is region, we may invest in tilers because we need plenty of tilers. And I think this is one of the most delicate things, considering also the complexity of new ceramics. So maybe we could have some sort of professional recognition after training programs. That's something really to keep into consideration. Armando Cafiero is here, and so if I, sorry, we got to know each other during the pandemic period, and we were able to pass a decree at that time, which was sort of miracle because everything was only focused on health at that time. But let me say that the Emilia-Romagna region will talk with different ministries, but we will remember that the National Plan for Recovery and Resilience is over. And I think that there hasn't been much industrial politics so far. We should try and use all the resources we received. But let's consider that the world doesn't end in June 2026. And focusing on the internal market, that is the European market for me, thinking of creating a structural fund on urban regeneration for a new idea of urban planning. There are top professionals here. And if there is no structural operation and we only think of solving problems with bonuses for buildings, whereas we should really design a strategic sector for the ceramic industry, which is so core, so important. And therefore, we need a structural fund that lasts for several years and gives you resources because there is an incredible GDP coming from this industry. So, as Emilia-Romagna region, we will ask for this proposal. I wanted to underline this, otherwise the president of the Emilia-Romagna region would have scolded me. Thank you very much. We talked about Cersaie, but there is also something collateral. So events during the Cersaie days, something that somehow completes what happens in the exhibition center. Now the floor to journalists. For those who are here or online, if there are questions, feel free to ask these questions to our speakers. Is there a question online? Simone, can you read it? There's Daniel Vicente from Spain. The floor is yours.
I have two questions to Filippo Manucci. First of all, I want to know your opinion about the USA duties to Italian ceramic and Spanish ceramic, European ceramic. And in the other hand, I know that Italy is one of the main markets of wall tiles from tile of Spain. But in the last months, its purchases has declined. I want to know which is the reason.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your questions, which allow me to clarify some things about the international trade, which represents a very important value in an industry that exports almost 80% of the local production. The US, to answer the first part of the question, represent one of the first foreign markets for us. And it's a market where ceramics, let's say, stays in the high quality excellence range, because in the US we have high added value, high quality, because we have very high costs for transports. In the past there were already custom duties around 8 to 9%. They now went up to 15%. So this means a further loss in competitiveness, which should worry us. And so I totally agree with the Vice President Colla about what he said about the European internal market, which is the one to focus on, because in the future the ceramic industry, apart from excellence that will remain, will have to travel for logistic reasons on road transport, and the internal market is the one we should focus on, because there are other producers coming from overseas that cannot compete, so to say, especially in terms of distribution and logistics. So we are worried about custom duties, but I think that this is not the main problem. The main problem is the competitiveness of Italian and European ceramic industries due to the cost of energy. It is very important to avoid having problems in terms of loss of competitiveness, because yes, this is much more important than the custom duties. As for the second part of your questions, that is why, what may be the motivations for this lack of competitiveness of Spanish ceramics in the Italian market, I think this is related to the average price, because the average price is lower than the Italian price, and so there is a strong competition in the medium-low range of production. So most of ceramic producers in Spain are actually encountering these problems because, you know, Spanish ceramics follow more or less the Italian rules, whereas there are other producers that do not comply with these rules. The custom duties, for example, if we consider Indians that are emerging in terms of quantities, but not in terms of sustainability. Well, and I said, I'm talking about the Indians, but I may be talking about the Turkish, the Brazilians, not the Chinese, luckily. But these countries are exporting to Europe and Italy ceramics that have lower prices, lower also than the Spanish, you know, but these ceramics do not have the right characteristics in terms of sustainability, product and process, which in our opinion would be fundamental for materials that get into the European Union.
Grazie Vicente della domanda.
Thank you very much for this question. From Milan, Giovanna Mancini, Il Sole 24 Ore. Good morning, can you hear me? Yes. Let me go back to what Manuzzi has just said. So I have this question for him and for Mr. Colla about the European policies and protection, because we talked about the cost of energy, which is the most important thing, and this is crucial. But there is also a problem related to protections. The protection against these new aggressive competitors. You mentioned the Indians, for example. And so some instruments like CBAM, well, how do you consider instruments like that? And do you see any greater margin of negotiation with Brussels? As for what you said about the additional square meters and this experience in the exhibition, we know that exhibitions are in difficulty, are having troubled times after the COVID pandemic. So what are you thinking to do, or what are you focusing on to have even greater attractiveness at an international level? Thank you. You can you can go ahead. You can start. Thank you. Okay. So the CBAM instrument is something that raises some doubts because it might be something to limitate low added value imports and unregulated. But there is another risk. The risk is to have some sort of counter custom duties because the Italian ceramics is leader in terms of exports, but has a 27% of at very high added value, which is exported to countries outside Europe. So we don't want to, talk about custom duties or counter custom duties. We would rather go for a market that respects the rules. So CBAM, in our opinion, is a way to limit problems, but not the best one. What we asked Brussels and the European Commission is actually to investigate seriously and constantly all the things concerning custom duties, incentives, support, and in particular the importance of sustainability and social responsibility. Because, we cannot accept that 1 billion square meters of tiles are consumed in Europe today. And in the future, they won't be European products, Spanish, Italian, French, German, Polish, and so on. Because, if we imported these from other countries, we would have greater emissions due not only to production in countries which are less careful, but also to transport. And this would also entail a loss of jobs that have medium and high added value here in Emilia-Romagna, in Italy, but also at the European level. If you understood the working conditions that there are in some countries, I think that you'd really, hesitate and not buy their products, because this is really something unacceptable for consumers. So I would like to underline the importance of, if not helping, at least not hindering each other, and work together to overcome this other problem. The floor to Mr. Colla. I agree with what you said. And I also would also like to underline the importance of technology, AI, and so on. Because, if Europe does not recover its technological sovereignty, we would become people who work for others but lose their own identity. I strongly believe in Europe, and I think that our continent is the only continent that can really underline the importance of sustainability and of climate. That's why there is such an importance for sustainability. But we need not only to pass regulations, but in particular to invest for other producers in our countries to be more aggressive, more competitive. As Mr. Draghi said, there are strategic supply chains in Europe. There must be technological sovereignty in order to ensure to have also political sovereignty and an added value. He mentioned 800 billions a year, and he has become the greatest follower, so to say, of the Keynes discipline. But for the first time, there has been an emphasis on some strategic supply chains. But we don't have time. We cannot wait until 2035. We need very soon to set the budget at the European level. And the Emilia-Romagna region, has already underlined that this is really fundamental for winning the match, so to say. And Europe will be fundamental also for the ceramic industry. It's clear that we should also defend the made in Italy, but because it is related to the European production. Let me go to the second part of the question. I think the exhibition is strongly related now to the idea of experience, because think of visitors. Visitors come to look at floor tiles, slabs. There are our salespeople going around the world to present the products, enter into markets. But I think it would be crazy to just to say people come to Bologna to look at these tiles. That would be crazy. We should say come to Bologna to really have a 360 degrees experience, which is given by the city, by the beauty of the city, its culture, by food, and by the pavilions of the exhibitions as well, because they are wonderful. For those who have never visited Cersaie, be them architects, journalists, they just chose not to come, you know. But if they came, they would be amazed by the contextualization of the product, going from the traditional bathroom to the urban furnishing or a design installation. And that's the real value. Experience is the real value. You go to see an exhibition because you will live an experience. Exhibitors invest a lot every year, and every year there is this discussion about the quality of the exhibition center, which should be higher, doing the best for the city to be attractive and welcoming, limiting the problems related to construction sites, enhancing structures and facilities of the airport, of connections, because there are high-level international visitors, buyers, important Italian customers coming to visit Cersaie. And there are things that in global leading exhibitions are totally fundamental. So we are growing, the exhibition center is growing, the city is growing, and that's the real value of Cersaie in Bologna. Can I add something? Please, go ahead. I also think that there is not just experience, but there is also awareness connected to the exhibition. If we are able to have customers, clients available of the values of our industry, of what we sell, of what we produce, of what we design, well, they will understand that the sum of individual choices can change something. Even a person going to a shop buying tiles for their bathrooms, they can make aware choices, and this can change things. So, if we choose responsibly, it is important to have awareness. So coming to Cersaie, coming to the exhibition, creates not only a wonderful experience and all the things that revolve around it, but it also creates some awareness. Awareness with the importance of the installation, the importance of the craftsmanship that is behind. And this would mean that the exhibition embodies a value that is even higher than what we've had so far. We're talking to journalists, and it's important to underline one thing. The figures of Milan, Bologna, and Rimini are incredible. But it's not just a matter of figures, of numbers, but it's a matter of contents and things that are behind it. Today, exhibitions are crucial, for the commercial power of a country. Cersaie, EIMA, and other exhibitions of international renown are going well because entrepreneurs, business people realized that part of their attention and part of their economic effort, because being at an exhibition costs money, but they saw that their investment is well spent. And I'm saying this because it's true. Exhibitions are doing great, and I'd say that we are even going a little bit better than others. Let me say this because, we've made great efforts. The city believed in it, the partners believed in it, the industrial system believed in it. And so today we are really satisfied of the results we are having and of the results that we may have in the near future. But is also true for other colleagues in other Italian and non-Italian cities. Thank you. There's another question from Gerte de Vring from the Netherlands. Please, you can ask the question.
Thank you. Good morning to you all. I have a question for Mr. Berardo. You talked about the human focus on Cita della Posa this year. And I'm curious, you also want to attract younger people for tiling. Can you tell me something about the Italian situation? Are there enough tilers and are there enough younger tilers starting a career as a tiler?
Thank you very much for your question. No, there are not enough young tilers. No. So the situation in Italy is not different compared to other countries. This is a problem that exists all over Europe. Because at a European level, we all have this kind of problem, this kind of trouble, and it's more or less the same situation in all countries. So Italy would really like to change the way we communicate to young people, making them understand what are the values characterizing this sector, what kind of job opportunities there can be in the future if they decide to become part of it. So we want to change our narration. The function of the European Federation is, for example, to emphasize the good practices that exist in the various countries for attracting people and inspire other countries, making them sort of case studies. But when I refer to narration and communication, I'm not just underlining its importance because it's nice to talk in a different way. But consider of a sector that is not able to communicate what it represents. And young people, for example, do not maybe accept or are not ready to accept to not be reached out in the best way because this industry is sometimes seen as something which is far from reality. This is why we should go against all the prejudices and wrong ideas that existed about this job. And the first thing we should eliminate is something that also families tend to tell their children because families sometimes are not maybe so happy that their children start doing this kind of jobs. But that's a mistake because in the past everyone wanted their children to keep on studying even today. But we are not in the same situation anymore. Studying and working they somehow complement each other. They do not exclude each other. And they must go hand in hand. So we should say, tell young people, you will have to study, train, and work in a sort of lifelong learning. And Italy is not alone in this challenge. We are all at a turning point. We should be able to change the approach and make this job considered as it really is and have it some sort of attraction to young people because, as I said, this is a European problem and we will try to work together to solve this problem in the best way. Thank you very much. And thanks to Vice President Vincenzo Colla, who needs to leave because he has to leave for Japan. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being with us, and thank you for being the ambassador of Cersaie in Japan with these two important exhibitions. So thank you. Let's now break the ice here in the room with a question from Corriere. Let me ask a question about what you said about competitiveness. I was struck by the 20% drop in investments. And for 2025, what are the forecasts for the industry? Should we be optimistic, pessimistic? And how many visitors are you expecting? You said around 50,000, right? Well, let me start from the second part, which is fastest. We expect visitors to be in line with last year. We had nearly 100,000 visitors. So 100,000 visitors would be great, but even a little bit less. Forecasts are in line with last year as well in terms of value and of sold square meters, because in the first 6 months of the year, the industry had a flat trend compared to 2024. What worries us most is that the Italian ceramics every year change in terms of production. So they sell more and more high added value products and less basic products. But there is a strong attention on price. And so the increase in value should also entail an increase in the average price of ceramics, which is not happening. Instead, what's happening is a general increase in costs, global costs for job contracts, the cost of energy, as we said, operating costs, there's inflation, we all see it every day. And this is somehow limiting the turnovers of our sector. So this reduction and a difficult future prospect explain why investments have slowed down. Clearly, there are companies who are performing better, others who are slower, that's for sure. But I would say that this is one of the main reasons. One of the characteristics of Cersaie compared to other exhibitions is that journalists come to us to look at products, but newspapers are also the protagonists of the Cersaie program. Think of I Caffè della Stampa. There are 18 magazines and newspapers talking about ceramics, bathroom furnishing, urban furniture. And in this edition, there are also other moments like Let's Talk, sponsored by Cristina Mandrini, chaired by Cristina Mandrini. I don't know if you are online, if you want to add anything, Cristina. Good morning, everyone. First of all, well, good luck. Break a leg. Thanks to the collaboration with Confindustria and Cersaie, there will be an important space that will be devoted to talking about new projects, new design of bathrooms and wellness areas. So starting from Tuesday until Friday the 26th, there will be a space created by Angelo Dell'Ara and Davide Vercelli. And it will be in Gallery 21 and 22 at the heart, let's say, of the bathroom furnishing area. What will happen in this area? Apart from having this, space which would really inspire something new, some transformation, some innovation, every day there will be two meetings, two sessions, one in the morning at 11:15 and one in the afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Meetings with 8 architects, 8 designers, protagonists of interior design that have been collaborating with our project called Bagno Architettura. And they will talk about many of the designs they have developed, but we will also exchange points of view to give new food for thought, new inputs, and present new scenarios to all those who will take part about the world of ceramics. Thank you. Thank you very much, Cristina. Thank you.
La rivista The Plan.
Now, The Plan magazine. Please, the floor is yours. Good morning. I'd like to go back to the Caffè della Stampa project. We will be involved on Wednesday the 24th, and the topic will be materials. Materials for architecture, cities that are regenerated, and spaces that tell stories. There will be Nicola Leonardi, the director of the magazine, as moderator, and then Alessandro Vitale, Vittorio Grassi, and Paola Gabrielli will be the speakers. So we'll wait for you at Caffè della Stampa. Thank you. Thank you. Now, Alessandra Sorge wants to ask a question online. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. I'd like to ask a question to Mr. Manuzzi about the production values and the awareness in buying, being aware consumers. I cannot hear you. Well, shall I answer your question? I don't know if you heard my question. We heard your question about being aware and responsible customers. Yes, I would like to focus on the area near Viterbo, producing a lot of ceramics for the bathroom sector. There are companies which are really advanced and state of the art, and they have values that are really in line with Confindustria Ceramica. However, reading the numbers about the presence of this here, it seems that after the pandemic, there is an important appeal for this exhibition and products that are not only beautiful, but also, and in particular, more sustainable and eco-friendly. And there is also a new regulation underlining that there must be a particular attention when designing new bathrooms and bathroom furnishings. So this marriage with sustainability, is it fundamental, Mr. Manuzzi? It is. It is because, beauty and sustainability, whether we talk about ceramics, bathroom furnishings, and other categories, product categories, well, having this combination is not just a choice, it is a strategic choice. Because either we are able to have this leadership that we've been having globally, and we do it sustainably, because sustainability is ethical but is also fundamental for economics. Because we have so high production standards that it would be crazy today to, for example, start a new company without focusing on the quality but also on the need for sustainability, which is absolutely fundamental. So the answer is yes, this is an important combination, an important marriage. What Mr. Berardo said earlier about awareness in addition to experience is something fundamental, because most of end users, and I'm not referring to professionals because we can reach out to professionals with a, you know, in a good way, but final users, final consumers who can now choose to buy in mass retail or from specialized operators, but final consumers totally lack this awareness. The fact of having a made in Italy or made in Spain ceramics, the fact of needing some standards in terms of sustainability, social responsibility. Well, these principles are not well communicated to final users. Whereas in other industrial sectors, a great effort has been made in this sense, maybe better than in our sector, in our industry, because we are very good at talking about beauty, value, research, great product range, but we're not good enough at conveying this importance of sustainability. However, the world of ceramic cannot live without the world of logistics and transport. And in 2024, 2023, we had already started comparing ceramics with other materials in terms of sustainability. And in terms of corporate social responsibility and distribution. And this is something we should really emphasize during the Cersaie and after Cersaie every day, because this is just a way to have consumers that do not only pay attention to design and beauty, but also want to make a responsible and informed choice. Thank you. Let me add another thing about product sustainability and about water, which is a very scarce resource. So when dealing with sustainable manufacture, we're referring to a 360 degrees ecosystem. And so the ISO 121 has been launched by Cersaie for it to become an environmentally sustainable event. We're at the beginning. We will give you the first results at the end of the year or at the beginning of January 2026, but we want to be ready with the next edition to underline once again this importance. A very last question by Katia Di Luna, even if we are running out of time. So the floor is yours for the very last question, because we don't have more time. I'm sorry. Katia, the floor is yours for the question. I wanted to mention AI, considering that it is gaining ground. And so, to what extent AI and robotics are involved, so to say, in the production processes. Katja, I'm sorry, but your sound is not very good. Can you try and repeat? How is AI, let's say, involved in production processes? Now it's clearer. Thank you. Well, AI has become part of our companies for several years now. Every company uses it in a different way with a different level of evolution. What's sure is that AI is helping us a lot in industrial processes because thanks to the collaboration with the most important representatives of this sector, we are developing machines that can learn from their mistakes. With the 4.0 industry, we worked on interconnection, so an exchange between the different machines. Whereas now with AI, we would like to have machines that improve their performances based on their previous mistakes. For example, think of digital sorting machines. You know that before packaging, there is the sorting in the production line. And so our ceramics need to have no defects, but it is very difficult to achieve this in production. And sorting machines are really improving their performances greatly thanks to AI, which is based on their previous mistakes. Another important thing is automation and the improvement of customer service, so the after sales service. And another important thing and very interesting topic, but I would be more cautious in this because I don't really like to somehow remove the idea and the role of man, is the role of AI in research. And when I see products that are generated by AI, I really don't like the idea that an artificial intelligence generates a product that must be used in homes, commercial areas by people. But it is clear that for the development of graphics, textures, there can be improvements. However, men and human beings must remain at the center of this collaboration. Luca? The world of tiling is also focusing on this, but keeping humans in the loop. That's our main starting point. The technology helps human beings, but human beings help technology. So this is the approach that we have. Thank you very much. So Cersaie 2025 will be an exhibition with superheroes, with AI, with an experience under Bologna arcades, and is a great event. So we look forward to seeing you there, and thank you very much for being here with us for this 1.5 hour. Thank you once again, and see you all at Cersaie.